I'm on the fence of whether or not I should return my Luna Ultra. I really like this camera. I do. I'm not trying to bash it. I'm not trying to bash Insta360 either. I own a Go Ultra as well. And I also bought the Mic Pro kit because the creator bundle was not available and I wanted the mic. So I was like, you know, I don't really need another pair of mics. You know, I've got a bunch of DJI mics and I've got Rode mics from various generations. I even have a newer mic set that they sent to me that I never did anything about, didn't review it. I've got too many microphones. So I didn't need another Mic Pro set, but definitely wanted to connect up a Mic Pro to this camera and test it out and kind of give it the full run because I'm a fan of these pocket cameras. My Pocket 3 right here. I pretty much bought the Pocket 3 day one when it got announced. Been a big fan of it. It has not replaced other cameras that I have, but it has been a great tool for content creation for when I need something that's going to be a higher quality cam than like a GoPro or an Action, but definitely doesn't replace a mirrorless cam, you know, like that's kind of what this Pocket 3 has been. But then of course DJI got banned in America. That's very annoying. So I've been very excited about the prospect of a Luna Ultra. And I picked this up day one as well. I was like, I'm buying this because I want to check it out. And it's so close to being incredible, yet it has such problems right now. And I don't know when it's going to get fixed. So there is firmware updates coming. So as of the recording of this, I'm on version 1.0.47. And yeah, there's some issues. I feel like I'm a beta tester and it kind of sucks buying a new product and then feeling like a beta tester, which I don't know. It's kind of becoming the norm nowadays. You buy something and then it's like, well, it's got problems. So you wait for a firmware update and then 2 years down the line, it's like finally in a good spot. It seems to be the way of tech at this point. But there's a few things in here that are kind of deal breakers. So one of them is the exposure tool type of stuff. So it is kind of a two-part thing. When you go into iLog, you don't see the true colors. It just shows you like the grayscale image, which sucks. You know, like it's not fun to use that when you're actually trying to like see if the picture looks good or anything. It's uninspiring. And then you import the footage to, you know, DaVinci or something and then color it up and you're like, oh, it actually does look pretty good most of the time. We'll get to that in a second. So that apparently is getting fixed soon with this update that isn't out yet. It got pushed, but then got pulled. Like something was wrong with it. So I guess they were rushing out the door and it broke things, so they had to pull it, which kind of is what's going on with this. Like this camera probably needs another year of development by the pace that they're going with their firmware side. The other thing is if you do go into manual exposure, you have no idea where you're at. You're flying blind. And when you're in iLog with the grayscale and no exposure tools, you really have no idea if something is over or underexposed. Like, you're just like, huh? We'll see. The best thing you could do is record something on here, import it onto your phone or something, double check the footage, potentially with a coloring tool, make note of your settings, and then adjust them from there. Huge pain in the ass. So that's borderline unusable from a pro-ish technical viewpoint. It's not so much of a problem if you're just a auto vlogger type of thing. So if you don't even care about iLog, just going pure auto in this is pretty good, except for the auto ISO. And if you watch Philip Bloom's video, you'll suddenly realize why part of the time the footage looks like absolute shit. This camera, it'll look amazing. You'll be like, wow. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, what the hell's wrong with this footage? What happened to the camera? And it's the crazy auto ISO. Like, I have no idea what the engineers were thinking going with a camera like this and thinking, let's destroy the footage when the auto ISO is enabled. Makes no sense whatsoever. So for those that don't know, apparently what it's trying to do in auto ISO is if it hits a certain limit, like if you put a ceiling of how much ISO to go, like if you only want it to go up to 1600, and then if it thinks it needs to go above 1600 ISO, it's going to digitally push the image to like 3200 or 6400, and then it applies a series of noise reduction AI type of crap to it that just mushifies the image. If you haven't experienced it yet, go try to film some low light stuff in auto and then get surprised because the detail goes straight out the window and you're left extremely unconfident to use this camera. Like, I've already treated this camera a few times as like an off B cam, C cam type of thing. And initially I'm like, all right, let's get this thing. And then in full auto, inevitably, because I'm in some sort of studio environment that maybe the light isn't the most brightest, it just mushifies the footage, and I'm left feeling like, well, that was a waste. I should have used a different camera. Yeah, it's a problem. It's probably going to get fixed, likely. It's clearly something an engineer would do and not someone who actually uses these tools for video production or just content creation. So that's a bit concerning and makes me a bit nervous about keeping this. Again, I've got a couple days to decide if I do want to send it back, because if I keep it, then I am gambling on the fact that I'm going to ride out firmware updates in hope that they do the job and do it correctly. I don't know. Let's talk about the remote as well. The remote is brilliant. This thing right here, popping right off. This is some crazy future technology right here for camera nerds. Like, so cool. Like, I love the fact that insta360 was the first to do something like this with a camera like that. I mean, these pocket cameras are relatively new. Insta360 is technically the first competition to DJI and Extra, the other DJI company. Reconnecting. Please ensure the device is powered on within 10 meters. It's reconnecting. How about we go like this? Case in point, this thing is buggy. Reconnecting. Okay, how about we turn this off? Hey, there we go. We're on. We have a picture. All right, now let me take this thing off. Okay, yes. Is it working? Preparing touchscreen. Yeah, it switched properly that time. That's the first time that's happened. This thing is really cool. It's incredible to be able to pop this off and then go and reframe your picture for wherever you set up this camera, because the idea is that you're definitely going to set up this camera in places that you wouldn't normally think for your mirrorless cam. At least I would, and I've already done it several times. Like that mantle behind me where the lights are, throw this on top of there and point it down. Awesome. And then like, oh, maybe I need to reframe the shot or get closer. We'll just use the remote to dial it in. The problem is the mushified auto ISO. Looks disgusting. It kind of destroys the whole purpose of that. This thing I love. It is unfortunately very buggy. And I was out with my wife and we were doing just some testing at a coffee shop, outdoors. And I was like, oh, I'm going to set this up and put it in a few different locations and see what's up. I'm sure you guys have seen there's connection issues between the remote and the actual camera. I actually did not realize that also will do that to the audio as well. The wireless audio from this controller to the camera. That is, if the auto ISO didn't shake your confidence, that will definitely shake your confidence for using something like this. Because as soon as the audio glitches and it cuts out, because also just to clarify, this was not very far. This was just 4 or 5 feet off to the side in open air in a coffee shop area. Again, outside, pretty close to the camera, it should not have cut out. So things like that is wow. After reviewing that footage, I was basically like, well, I don't think I'm ever going to use this microphone now. Unless there's some patch that happens where it for sure fixes that issue. And you know what? The firmware patch that is coming might fix it. But here's the problem. It says, increases stability or something like that. So, all right, well, then you have to test it. And then you have to do a bunch of tests to make sure you're not in a situation where, let's say you're really trying to make sure you get some sort of recording with this and the audio cuts out. It shakes your confidence, If you're a daily vlogger, it's probably not that big of a deal. If there's a few issues where some glitching happens, people don't go, this is unwatchable or something like that, that's not the case, obviously. And definitely not trying to say that the camera is unusable, because that's obviously not the case. You can actually use this camera for situations right now. But between those issues right there, my confidence level in using this camera for a lot of different scenarios is at a very low point, and that's why I'm thinking about possibly returning it, and maybe I'll pick it up 6 months from now or a year. Or maybe I just keep it and ride it out and deal with the consequences. I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people that will flip-flop back and forth on subjects like this. Also, I noticed people talking about the battery life on this guy dying pretty quickly. It's actually not terrible. I was able to record an entire hour with this guy actually directly above me in this room when I was doing a video for a monitor arm upgrade. And it went over an hour, and then finally this thing started flashing saying the battery was low, connect it back up. And I was like, oh, okay. So And the screen was off most of the time. I think an hour recording by itself with the screen detached basically almost the entire hour, I think that's okay, personally. I think that's a good amount of time. And also, it charges pretty quick when it reconnects to the camera. I did actually get the camera to overheat at one point. One of my first tests, I did a music production test because I was like, this camera might be perfect for bringing around a room and catching different angles for music production. It was in pure video mode, the quote unquote low light mode, and it turned off after 40 minutes. And I was a little surprised because I was making some stuff, and then the camera died, and I was like, oh, overheated. That's crazy. But pure video mode, there's more additional things happening, like the AI processing, and again, that mush crap, is happening along with additional pure video mode type of stuff. So yeah, I have technically experienced an overheating, but it wasn't in like a normal production setting. It was like testing the low light and testing a long recording. So yeah. So essentially, if you're going to rely on pure video mode, you're probably going to want to limit the actual time to like 30 minutes or so, unless there's like an actual fan blowing on it. So also this jog wheel for zooming in and out, the zoom rocker. I don't know what they were thinking with that. It's so buggy. Maybe the firmware will update it and fix it. Who knows? But basically what I did was I relied on the right button right here, this guy, to step my zooms. So it'll go 1x, 2x, 3x, 6x, 12x. I don't really care about the in-betweens because I can always crop and post. So yeah, it's weird. Also, another thing, this isn't technically related to the Luna Ultra, but I ordered additional little feet here, or these bottom things right here. I ordered 2 of them off the Insta360 site, and they have yet to show up. They're in shipping limbo. And I've talked to Insta360 and I said, hey, what the hell? And they're like, yeah. Talk to the shipper. I'm sure something's up with that. Yikes. Luckily, I bought this from Amazon, so I can return it easily. Yeah, that's my thoughts so far. I should probably return it, and I shouldn't be a beta tester for Insta360 without actually being acknowledged as a beta tester from them and getting some sort of benefit for testing their buggy stuff. But I do like the product. I really like the camera, and the only option is basically waiting for Extra to release their Muse 2 Pro or whatever, the DJI shell company, because I'm definitely not going to buy a Pocket 4P and not have a warranty. Like, that thing, there's some stuff about that bugs me, and I definitely do not want to be like, the gimbal's broken, you just wasted your money, So, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Peace.